support the expansion of our products beyond the boundaries of this county. And many others, if they can afford, the window of registration is still open. If you go to our website www.trade.go.ke, please register there. Take your goods and the services there. It is highly subsidized by the government. So other than your ticket and accommodation, the rest is arranged by us in cooperation with the Equity Bank. And if you require funding thereafter, we shall also support you in that particular aspect. Issue number 2 is to indicate that there is a government delegation to South Africa. Again, we are going there to showcase our competencies in the same fields of goods and services. We depart around 20th. So if there's any of these companies here and all over the country who may not have registered with us, please do. The terms are the way I've indicated. You will go to South Africa, meet with your counterparts. There is a lot of potential in that particular country. And why are we saying this? We are saying this because we have reached a stage in our development process where we must go beyond our boundaries. You will probably know if you are able to sell even one product beyond the county, like the company that was manufacturing yogurt. I was happy that they mentioned they were selling their products in Marsabit, and I had seen in the social media the governor was there. So if you go out to visit your colleagues in the counties, carry these people, governor, carry their products, because that is how we are going to reap the dividends of devolution. Again, if you are able to go beyond the boundaries of this great country and they sell the same products to our neighboring countries in Ethiopia, in Uganda, in Zambia, all that, what has the government done? It has collapsed these markets. We started with the East African community, a market of 150 million people. There are no boundaries between the 5 member states: Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania and Kenya. Unatembea kuuza vitu zako. Now we are incorporating DR Congo in the next summit if our leaders agree to our recommendation. We are also members of COMESA, and we are collapsing COMESA through the tripartite. So we have SADC, COMESA, and EAC, and eventually you have the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we have done our part. The standards teams are here to make sure that your products comply with the standards requirement of each country, and then you move. The last thing I would like to indicate is that at the continental level, there is a celebration that is going on led by the African Union. And one of the things that we are trying to say under the African Union Commission leadership is that to get Africa to increase its share of global trade from the current 4% to about 16%, what do we need to do? We need to trade more among ourselves. We need to trade more with our global partners. Today we can source these products from China or from the US or from wherever, but that is not our ambition. Our ambition is to produce what we are currently importing, and that is why we have this particular day, to give impetus, to give hope, and to give policy and political guidance to all those that interact with us. We have had the issue of power, and I believe Governor at another level will be able to see whether the instruction given by His Excellency the President to reduce the cost of power by 30% by December. It is something that we shall celebrate in this sector, because it is a direct subsidy to all our manufacturers and to all that produce alternative goods. I wish to stop there and give it back to the director of ceremonies. Thank you very much, Mr. Kirima. Nimeshukuru sana, and hongera to those people who have arranged this particular exhibition and the invitations. We wish you all a nice Industrialization Day. Shukran.
Thank you, Ambassador Wero. I now invite His Excellency Honorable Nderitu Mulethi, the Governor, to give us his remarks. Karibu, Governor.
Thank you, Kirema. Our two colleague PSs, ladies and gentlemen, karibuni Nanyuki and Laikipia. Na mujipigie makofi. Amujambo, Muriega, Chamege, Muga Kaire, Muriaseo, Eshokona, Erosoba, Eserian Pogin. Mujipigia makofi, naona Wakenya wote mko hapa. Akam. Asanteni sana. I mean, we are very delighted to host you and to host Kenya's celebration of the Africa Industrialization Week. We are very, very delighted. We started off this morning with a conversation on energy, and PS Weru has alluded to that conversation. You see, this tuk-tuk, the BJ50, I wish it could be brought here so that I can point to it. If you can find Jogu to just bring it up here. This tuk-tuk is competing with an Indian-made tuk-tuk. Okay? Both makers of the tuk-tuk, this Kenyan one from Nyahururu called Sagak Tech, and the one from India, have to use electricity. Isn't it? Now, Njogu is paying 21 shillings per kilowatt hour for the electricity that he uses to make this tuk-tuk. I know there was, I wouldn't say who, you know, I in my previous life, I was CAS. In those days, we were called assistant ministers for industrialization. So my friends are here, Kirema being one of them, Odua, another man, I don't want to say his name. So he was very shocked to see, so he wrote in and he said, "Hiya, it's moving." Of course it is moving. It's a tuk-tuk. It carries 900 kilos, far better than a competing product from India. Far better. It has 4 wheels, so it is more stable. That's why it has better payload. And Mr. Njogu, the one standing next to it, he didn't say he was making a Lamborghini. He didn't say that. He didn't say he was making a Bentley. He said he was making a tuk-tuk, Nadio Hio. And he makes it in Nyahururu today. So I hope you colleagues from the Ministry of Industrialization, before you leave, buy a few. I mean, if you really believe in buy Kenya, build Kenya, buy a few tuk-tuks. Yes. So that we put our money where our mouth is. Mimi mwenyewe have bought one at a personal level and ordered my government to buy a few. So, the reason we were having the conversation about power in the morning, or the cost of electricity, and we have a number of the officers here who are involved in generation, who are involved in transmission of energy, who are involved in distribution, and we have their regulator, is because really we want this manufacturer and the rest of them who are here, like the man making Mureri Engineering, who is making the grain dryer. And I agree with P.S. Weru, we must facilitate him to go on the trip to DRC. After the ceremony, we can have a sidebar na yeye ili tuone tumwezeshe aende kuangalia customers wake. So that's what industrialization is about. Now I know, and Kano Jiraini is here, I know, for example, in this particular tuk-tuk, We have now begun to ask Jogu whether he is compliant to homologation. I challenge you experts sitting here to tell me what is homologation. Wale wanajua mkono juu. Yeah, you see, hata nyinyi hamjui. So why are you bothering this man with homologation? Yeah, Kenya Standard 2715. Sorry, Kanojiraini. I mean, this man wants to make tuk-tuks for the farmers in Nyahururu, and Nyandarua, and Nakuru. Why don't we facilitate him to make thousands of tuk-tuks for those farmers? After all, this one, and we have tested it, it can carry 900 kilos of fertilizer. Unaona hapa. And I hope it will be put to the test here so that the doubting Thomases can see what it is about. This tuk-tuk, 15 different small businesses, small manufacturers are involved in making it. 15 different ones. The ones who make the suspension, the ones who make the hub, the ones who make the steering column, and so on. That's what it is about. Now, because Laikipia is full of iron ore, which we now cannot make steel because we don't have enough power, we don't have enough electricity in Laikipia to be able to have a steel mill here to process the steel necessary to make that tuk-tuk. That's why we're having the conversation about power. Now, why don't we have the correct amount of power? Firstly, because Ketraco has not completed the transmission line from here to Rumuruti. But even when the Ketraco does that, KPLC will need to actually have better energy available to us. That's why ourselves, we are requesting government, national government, to allow the investment of nearly $60 million to create a 40 megawatt solar plant at Rumuruti to go ahead so that we can have nice clean energy that we can use to produce the steel that Jogu needs to make his tuk-tuk. Not one, but thousands and thousands of tuk-tuks. That's what, to us as Laikipia, industrialization is about. Now, it's not just Jogu. There is Kagiri, Davina Engineering. There is Mureri Engineering. Actually, we have 1,600 enterprises like him under support in the Laikipia Innovation and Enterprise Development Program. 1,600. They themselves employ 22,000 Laikipians. These enterprises, tuwapigieni makofi. So to us, that's what industrialization is about. And we as governments, then our job is to facilitate that to happen. We were discussing with the MD of KIE, and I know he has good finance, particularly because it is longer term. It is 8 years. He's at 10%. Our SMEs at the moment are accessing credit at 7%. 7%. But granted, our term is not. So you and I, KIE and Laikipia County Government, should work together because you are able to go longer term than our instruments that we are applying with the commercial banks, so that then we can get longer term finance. For instance, if you look at Jogu, he requires a press. He requires molds and press. He requires a whole production line so that all these panels are made not manually, but they are made through automation. For him to do that, he requires to invest 120 million shillings. So it will need KIE and IDB and possibly ICDC to make it happen. And we, as Laikipia County, we are happy to come to the table as investors through Laikipia County Development Authority, so that we put together a financing package of 120, 130 million shillings and have a full production line of tuk-tuks here in Nyahururu. And with it, create thousands and thousands of jobs. To us, that's what industrialization means. So we hope we can work together as institutions of government in Kenya to transform this thing. I know some of you were skeptical about this tuk-tuk. It's supported by engineers from Dedan Kimathi University. Njogu himself is the innovator. He's supported, of course, by officers from my government and many other partners. So again, that is what to us industrialization is. As I come to close, I honestly believe, and I want to appeal to all Kenyans, you see, we have to believe in ourselves. I don't know, I think the UNIDO rep was going to speak for us. I don't know if she's here or not. But anyway, I just want to tell you a story that happened to Kerema, since Kerema is here, and Udua, they are here, and myself. A few years ago, when we were all working together, some people came from Silicon Valley. They were venture capitalists, and they were looking to be connected to Kenyan SMEs who are who do apps for mobile phones, because Kenya is regarded as one of the go-to places for people making applications for mobile phones and other gadgets. So when they came, and I turned around, when the treasury people, some nice folks, asked me to meet with them, and I turned around to look, of course, for our team. So our PS then, I think, was John Crop, Professor Runyangapo. So when I turned around and asked, oh, where is the PS? I was told, oh, don't you remember, they went to India with Mr. Udua and Mr. Kerema. To do what? Technology transfer. So UNIDO and our partners here had financed us to go to India for technology transfer. And that's okay. So I said, what technology are we going to? Biogas. You know, there's nothing wrong with biogas. It's a very nice, clean source of energy. Okay? Nothing wrong with it. Except now, here we are. Americans have come to town because they believe we have technology. But because we don't believe in ourselves, we have gone to India to look for technology. It's my appeal. For us to industrialize Africa, we must get out of that mindset. We must get out of it. We must use standards in the correct way. Jogu is not claiming that this is Tesla. Oh, I don't know what is the right car today. Maybe it's Lexus. He's not saying that. He's saying he's making a tuk-tuk. The competing tuk-tuk, frankly, is poor quality, is less stable, has less payload. Why can't we support Jogu to make thousands and thousands and thousands of tuk-tuks across Africa for him to sell? Simuseme amen. Nampiga makofi. I mean, how else are we going to industrialize if we do not believe in our own products? Now, all these SMEs on here, they are here exhibiting products that they are making. So it is up to us as government institutions to make it possible. This budget, we've just gotten approval from the county assembly to try and give these SMEs some relief on power. And we are going to be doing that this budget. As I already indicated, we got some authority from our county assembly to provide the relief. That's why they can get credit at 7%. But we need to systematize that and scale it up. In Laikipia today, our own economic stimulus program that is allowing us to provide that kind of relief is about 3.3 billion shillings. So it is my hope that scaling up nationally would mean something like 150, 200 billion shillings, so that we can support hundreds of thousands of small businesses. Because if we as Laikipia, at the moment, we are supporting 1,600 micro and small manufacturers like Mr. Njogu. As a nation, We should be able to do 500,000, 700,000, so that we can transform our economy. So we are very, very proud to be asked to host or co-host Africa Industrialization Week. So we'll be here today, tomorrow, and the day after. And we invite all Kenyans who are listening to us or seeing us on television, live on Facebook and Instagram and on Twitter, to come through and look at the amazing products that Kenyan manufacturers, particularly small and micro manufacturers, are making, and to make the commitment to industrialize Africa by industrializing Kenya. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And it is now my duty and pleasure to invite PS of Industrialization, Ambassador Kiremi Kaberia, to speak to us on behalf of the CS, but also on his own behalf. Karibu sana. 1 second, we sanitize the mic. Mpigiani Ambassador makofi.
Thank you very much, Governor. Our Governor for Laikipia, my brother and colleague, Ambassador Wero, other directors and senior officials of the ministry, our innovators, our traders, our business people. Good afternoon. It's really a great pleasure for me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today to celebrate Africa Industrialization Week. To support you, Honorable Governor, I remember reading something from Frederick Douglass that said that true independence certainly comes from control of your means of production for the items that you consume every day. So seeing the capacity of many people in this field today who are producing to service, to support, to enable our daily life, improve our quality of living, make it easier, is really something that I'm proud of. I speak today on behalf of 3-4 of us. We were supposed to have our CS and our CASs, but we decided to divide ourselves because there is a lot of work. So we sent CAS Karanja to Mombasa. Oceani CAS was sent to Nyeri. Myself and Ambassador Wero are here. And then our CS is also leading the team in cabinet today because we have a number of bills that are going through. So as you can see, we support you, we agree with you, and we are happy and proud to be part of Laikipia. I'm also a proud resident of Laikipia. I'm a farmer here. And I'm also happy to say that my brother, Ambassador Wero, is a very good and kind neighbor. He's been my friend since we were young in foreign service. And we continue to be blessed to work together and to support each other. So here again is not only the government machinery supporting Laikipia and the Sereb community, but we are here again saying the children of your community are here at your service. A clap for Ambassador Wero for the work he's doing. He's doing great work, really, trying to make sure that Kenyan products are available out there. Our work is to enable him by making sure that those products are produced competitively, affordably, sustainably, and in the highest of possible standards. We also acknowledge with thanks the financial support from different people that have come in with us, starting with UNIDO, who are our partners today. Can we clap for them, please? Your Excellency, Governor Derito, who is also a friend of mine for many, many years. In fact, I was his father's friend. It is as it is, but his father was my good friend, and by extension, he became my friend. We also thank you very much for supporting us and making this day really possible. I would like also to take this opportunity to acknowledge with thanks the financial support from our state corporations. We have a number of heads of state corporations and other representatives. Please just stand so that everyone may see you. Look at that. We have Ken Invest, we have KIE, we have KEBS, we have KIPI, we have Kenya Trade Remedies Agency, Anti-Counterfeit Authority, Mosea. Listen to all that. I thank all of you. I think we are many. I can see even EPZA, I can see SEZ, Cesar. You're all here, and I thank you for being here. Let me appreciate you collectively. Let's clap for all of them. But also I would like to thank Vilgro Africa, which will, who have supported us, and their support will go a long way in meeting the cost element associated with the celebrations in order to make this occasion really a success for Kenya. Vilgro, please, let's clap for him. Thank you very much. The African Industrialization Day is celebrated on the 20th of November each year across African continent to mark the progress made in realization of the African Industrial Development Agenda. It accords governments and other organizations in Africa an opportunity to examine ways to stimulate the industrialization process. In Kenya, the industrialization agenda is delivered from the Big Four agenda, which has 4 pillars. And as you all know, it's manufacturing, universal health care, food security, and affordable housing. This year's theme for Africa Industrialization Week is Industrializing Africa, renewed commitment towards an inclusive and sustainable industrialization and economic diversification. 10 priority sectors have been identified to drive industrialization in Kenya, and these priority sectors are as follows. 1, textile. 2, leather. Food processing. Furniture. Pharmaceuticals. Paint. Cosmetics and detergents. Automotive. Iron and steel. And lastly, cement. The MSMEs exhibitors that we have here indeed represent all priority sectors. These SMEs have proved to be innovative and flexible, and this was demonstrated following the outbreak of the COVID-19 and the reporting of the first case of coronavirus in Kenya in March 2020. We urge all our guests to feel free to sample products showcased by these hardworking Kenyan entrepreneurs who constitute approximately 98% of the total working population, and they also contribute over 24% of the gross value addition and the national output. Indeed, the MSMEs are the bedrock of our economy. Let us dedicate ourselves to the best. Can we give them a clap? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we have committed and dedicated ourselves to render our services in the most effective and efficient manner. In July this year, the State Department of Industrialization and its SAGAs held a strategic team-building retreat in Meru County under the theme, "Are the machines in your village still on?" The power of the local production and the cottage industry. We sought to re-energize ourselves and to consolidate our collective efforts in service delivery to Kenyans on matters industrialization. We sought to conduct a strategic review of collective inputs towards achieving the Big Four agenda, with special focus on our core mandate, which is the manufacturing pillar. We rededicated to roll out our services closer to the people of Kenya. And for that reason, we are here today, moving on with that commitment. Among the resolutions that we made were, one, we resolved to consolidate annual work plans of SDI and its sagas to enhance efficiency. We also agreed to foster synergy and collaboration in policy, program, and project design, in implementation, monitoring, and evaluation among our groups. We agreed to relook at policy framework for industrialization to incorporate emerging issues and mega trends, such as for the Industrial Revolution, as we move forward. And I hope our innovators with the tuk-tuk are going to benefit from this dedication, because it is people like you that make us go to work every morning. And as they sang when we were at the retreat, in this world, there's a place for people like you. We also dedicated to enhance collaboration between state and non-state actors for supporting MSMEs growth and innovation startups. Here today, we have all the agencies of government that are responsible for ensuring that this support continues and reaches as far out as possible. Therefore, ensuring that our footprint as industry is expanded and is across the country. Recent initiatives in support of local industry, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to review our policy and legislative framework for promotion of industrialization and enterprise development, while keeping focus on the changing global environment. Among the recent development in this area, Kenya's micro and small enterprise policy has been developed, the local content policy is in place, preferential procurement master role, and the intellectual property bill. When you look at all these collectively, you start seeing the enabling environment being built to ensure that small to medium-sized enterprises across the country have an advantage, have a chance. For instance, the procurement master role means that we are able to outline commodities and products that are made by our SMEs and other local enterprises that are given priority. When government buys, it buys from them first. We have gone up to 40% in this regard. We also have the intellectual property bill, which was passed. We have KIPI here. That means when you have products like this, they are patented, they are protected. For a long time, we've had stories of good innovations, and I am happy to hear what the Honorable Governor said, that at some point, people would come here to see what we have in terms of app development. But also in that same line, we've had a lot of cry of young Kenyans who have developed things and they have been taken away by foreigners and they never get to see the benefit from it. To stop that, we have KIPI, which actually is ensuring that your innovations are registered. I know we have a lot of people both online and others who are on TV and in other places watching us. We want to encourage you and say, work with us. Let us collaborate to ensure that this is achieved. The Kenya Micro and Small Enterprise Policy is actually live and is important. Further improvement of the environment for local industry is part of what we are doing, and we have developed Kenya Micro and Small Enterprise Policy on promoting the small and micro enterprises for wealth and employment creation. The policy outlines the direction the country intends to take in making SMEs sector competitive and productive in order to contribute its rightful share in Kenya's Vision 2030 and the Big Four agenda. I hope you do understand that here I would actually like to speak like a governor off the cuff. But at the same time, there are specific areas that must be understood because they go beyond just the things that I could say about some of the things here. When you look at local content, The policy objective is to enhance in-country value addition and retention of Kenya's resources and advocate for according preference for Kenyan-made goods and services for the purpose of spurring local economic development. The policy further emphasizes attaching true value for Kenya's natural resources if the country is to derive its fair share from their exploitation. We talk about having iron ore in this country. We must bring into synergy the various supporting sectors. If it's energy, if it's extraction, if it's storage, transportation, all this must be looked at collectively for us to really be able to say we are able to regain or derive the true value of that natural resource for us and for our country. For a lot of time, we have continued to have all these natural resources or raw materials exploited, but when you look at the net gain of what we get as a country, it's really small. That needs to change. Also, we want to provide for quarterly reporting on compliance in meeting with local content thresholds and allow the Cabinet Secretary responsible for industrialization to present the state of local content in Kenya on an annual basis. Here, you know, what we've managed to do is to say it is the responsibility of Kenyans to know what the ministry is doing to ensure that their products are actually addressed and used by both government and other MDAs. I will move to preferential procurement master role, and here we have published preferential procurement master role number 1 of 2020, which comprised of 334 products and categories, and the preferential master role number 2 of 2021, which has 682 products and categories and is at the government press as we speak. Although not exhaustive, in terms of what is made in Kenya, the master role are a guide to the procuring entities on the products made in Kenya. And for those people who are making products in this county and in other counties, we reach out to you to request, kindly make sure you reach out to us so that we are able to include you and your products so that you have a preference when we are purchasing or procuring services and goods. For improved efficiency and effectiveness in undertaking the above and to cut down on cost, the Presidential Task Force on Parastatal Reforms in their 2013 report recommended that 3 intellectual property institutions, namely Kenya Industrial Property Institute, KIPI, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, and the Kenya Copyright Board, be merged to form one government-owned entity. The ministry constituted the terms to undertake the merger, and this work is ongoing. But before I move out of here, I would like to actually just put this aside for a minute and just talk to the people of Laikipia. We are pushing an agenda called OVOP. OVOP is one village, one product. We are mapping the whole country to ensure that in every one of our counties, we know what are the top 10 most prevalent natural resources, what value addition is required there, and what kind of industry is necessary for us to either improve, take to market, or even bring together to manageable levels all these products so that the local communities may gain. Also within OVOP, we are taking again the baseline or the data that we have on this product and saying, why should we always be suffering to take the products to the industry? Let's find the commodities and take the industries to the commodities or to where the raw materials are. This will improve the footprint of our industry. It will also expand the knowledge transfer. When the governor talks about knowledge transfer, I don't think it is being transferred as much if we're just taking raw materials and sending them to industries, either in the capital or in other countries. If we bring the industries here, then the local people continue to grow and to learn. I also want to ask the young people to start looking at ways of coming together. I was very impressed to see the person who is developing the dryer here. If you think about the power of just that item alone, you start seeing in the past we have millers who are saying we cannot buy Kenyan corn because Kenyan corn has aflatoxin. Aflatoxin comes because the corn was not properly handled. And here we are saying pick your corn, dry it in the right way, and with that we will be able to actually increase not only value but also shelf life. We will also be able to bring in higher technology. When the governor tells me, oh, we need to give resources to the innovators of the shaft cutter so that he's able to make it more consistently in more accurate ways, I see the point. Then we are here with the Bureau of Standards, with the financier, with the R&D people. We're here in full to support this kind of production so that, as Frederick Douglass said, we are in control of our own production, and we are the ones who determine the sustainability of what it is that we consume. If COVID-19 didn't teach us anything, it taught us one thing, that if you're able to produce what you use, you're sustainable as a country, you're sustainable as a people, and your future is better guaranteed. It is now my pleasure and my honor to say that, to declare that it is my duty and my honor to declare Africa Industrialization Week 2021 celebration officially opened. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Kirimi Kaberia. The celebrations are now open, and I urge ourselves to ensure that we take time and now visit our exhibitors today, tomorrow, and the day after. We will have ample time to discuss with our institutions for the services they offer. Those enterprises that have been hearing about the Kenyan Bureau of Standards, they are here today. KIE, KIPI, Anti-Counterfeit Agency, EPSND, and the others. Be free to engage them. The rains are blessings, isn't it? And this is to make sure that we stay put and they hear more of this good message. We will now have opportunity, while it rains, for our sagas to give us a quick run of the services they give us just before we take a break for lunch when the rain subsides. Who is ready and wants to go first? I see Kano is seated there. Are you ready? Caps? Just come to your stand. I know we have our own day for presentations. You are ready? We will come to you. He says he is ready. You can use the mic up there. Yes.
Our chief guest for today, Ambassador Kaberia, the PS for Industry, Ambassador Weru for Trade, Your Excellency the Governor, all invited guests, small micro medium enterprises, everyone, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Bernard Jiraini, the Managing Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards, the agency that is responsible for governing and maintaining standards, metrology, and conformity assessment in the Republic of Kenya. Today, as we celebrate the Africa Industrialization Day, we are glad that we are doing it here in Laikipia, and we appreciate our governor, Your Excellency, for inviting us here, because we take you as a role model in terms of giving us the way forward in terms of industrialization. We are very pleased that today we are able to appreciate our very own, what I would say, motor vehicle that has been developed by our own here in this country. As Kenya Bureau of Standards, our mandate basically is to develop standards, and KEBS does not develop standards. Standards are developed by stakeholders, experts, on a consensus basis. They come together and agree on the specifications for quite a number of parameters. And without standards, there is no opportunity for growth. There is actually no opportunity for us to improve and trade. As we celebrate the African Industrialization Week, we know, like the governor said, that our contribution is very low in the global trade. That is 4%. On that end, we are not doing very well. And I'm quite excited on the data that the governor gave us this morning, indicating that in this county, we do have iron ore. I remember when I was working in numerical machining complex, one of the project was integrated steel mill. And one of the raw materials for that is steel, is iron ore. If we are able to unlock that, we are surely going to move forward. So as Kenya Bureau of Standards, our job is to facilitate trade through development of relevant standards. A simple case like the mask that you're wearing on require a number of things to be right. For the filtration efficacy to be okay, you have to have the right material, the dimensions, even the tensile strength of the straps, because they fail quite occasionally. You have to test how is it able to even filter. And therefore, team of experts must come up and agree on these parameters. Sometimes it's quite discouraging to our innovators, to our small, medium enterprises, to emphasize the compliance to these requirements. But we do that as a regulator to ensure that the product that we are making really are product to benefit them. So as we continue developing these standards, we encourage the small, medium enterprises, the uptake for the S-mark, because once you manufacture or produce a product, you subject them to the various tests to meet the requirement. We issue you with a quality mark. And it's on that basis you'll be able now to sell that product to either DRC, Congo, Uganda. Now we are talking about now bringing on board DRC. We are talking about how now the gentleman who is manufacturing the machines here, how is he able to sell them outside beyond our borders? The only way is when they are certified, because the other national standard bodies from other different countries will only recognize those products as long as they have the quality marks, based on mutual recognition of quality marks as agreed between our partner states. So we therefore encourage all the manufacturers, whether you are small or big, come to us. Our main interest and focus is actually not in the infrastructure. Our main focus, as it now, because we have now developed a policy, SME policy, is on the product itself. Yes, we do appreciate that. If you do not have the control measures to consistently produce the product that you're talking about, you may not be able to sell this product. But our main focus for now is to ascertain the product you're manufacturing. Whether you're manufacturing it in a small workshop, we have certified quite a number of products. Those that are make barbed wire, chain links, and many other, even including the food product, as long as you meet the requirements. So it is our interest as regulator to ensure our product certification scheme reaches out to almost everybody. And we are encouraging the consumers to also be our partners in this journey to ensure the products that are out there in the market do have the quality marks. There's a very simple procedure you can check whether that product has a permit. You just need to text the permit that is usually underneath the S mark to 223, and you get a feedback. And the essence for this, because I get a lot of questions, our SMEs ask me, why are we buying honey from Tanzania or Uganda or other countries? And I tell them we have already made an agreement that we are going to expand our market from 47 million Kenyans to 150 million Kenyans. So we are going to trade with a bigger population pool. The only way you can be able to access that market is you to get the S mark. So we are here today to pass message to Kenyans in general. First and foremost, to register with us, get their product certified, then in general asking Kenyans to be more patriotic, to buy our product as Kenyans, as the governor has said here. When you find today a good Land Rover, most probably is driven by a Briton. Not because he didn't know that probably another model is better, more efficient, but he's also patriotic to his country. A product made here in Kenya, if there is a cost difference between 10 shillings or even up 10%, is preferable. This is the only way you will not have many CVs in your house or walking around trying to see who can employ your son, your cousin, your nephew. The only way is to embrace products that are manufactured within the country, irrespective of how good. A small difference will not create a big problem. I was looking at the current data on the furniture that we import. We're spending about 11 billion on importation of furniture. I believe through our policies that we have in the ministry, Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, import substitution policy, and now moving toward on how we can reduce our power consumption, that will ultimately achieve what we are looking for in terms of preference of products made here in Kenya. If you look at the furniture section or area, the issues of quality is very critical because the consumer needs a product that is nicely done. We have now currently people in this country manufacturing a router. You know what is a router? Is a machine that is able to generate different profiles. It's CNC machines, plasma cutting machine. The one we were saying can improve the quality of the product that was being manufactured by the gentleman here. A plasma machine, you just need to get a good drawing and it will cut you the very correct profile. If you have a bedding machine, it's also going to bed very good beds. And if you have punching machine, which are small machines that I know NMC is working on, can be able to facilitate production of quality product that can be sold. In line with the manufacturing, because the PS had talked, we are very keen in ensuring that we support local manufacturing without a lot of issues. And the other thing that we are doing as KEBS is to ensure we have a level playing ground, safeguarding against unfair trade practices. Because if we are also allowing substandard product coming into the country, and as we have seen a gentleman here who is making the charging cable, he is telling me the cables that we are importing are not durable. One of the things that you find when you buy electrical cable is that it fails to add the connection area because it has been made using poor quality raw materials. The conductive resistance is also maybe poor, and that's why it fails after subjecting it to maybe overnight heating during charging. If we are able to control the quality of product coming into the country, we'll give an opportunity for our people here to be able to do that. And therefore, that is why we are calling upon consumers to partner with KEBS to be able to ensure that the products that are being consumed here meet the standards. Sometimes back, I know the multi-agency activities created a lot of debate as to whether really the activity was beneficial to the small traders. But the interest of the government is to ensure that there is a level playing ground, there are no substandard products, and consumers' interest is taken care of. And that is the only way a local manufacturer will be able to compete here locally and be able to produce things he will not only sell to Kenyans, but also sell outside there. The other aspect that you need to consider that we also play a very critical role is measurements. If you are going to produce probably yogurt, you have to have a control measures to ensure you are consistently producing yogurt that is, first of all, nutritious, that all the parameters that you've stated, it meets them. In addition to that, the undesirable chemicals and toxins are not inside that food product. We are going to also ensure the microorganisms are not there. How do you ascertain that? The only way you can ascertain that is to have a laboratory system, a laboratory that you are able to measure these parameters. And that is the only way then your product will be preferable by other people outside the country. We therefore are the custodians of the national standards, that is the weight, mass, length, temperature, pressure, and the others. We provide traceability to international systems of units that you can only get the true kilo from Kenya Bureau of Standards if there is any disparity or deviation. If you want to get your calibrations calibrated, your gauges and all that, the other equipment calibrated, come to Kenya Bureau of Standards. That is the other role that we do play. We want to advise that before you decide to import probably spare parts, equipment, raw materials, buy the Kenyan standards. It costs about 2,000 to 5,000. That is the average cost of standards, so that you can understand the specifications. Quite unfortunate that we have in the past had to destroy a number of products. That is not our policy. Our policy is to educate people to understand what they need to import. A retired teacher who decides to venture into import business, the very first step he needs to do is to acquire the Kenyan standards. From that, you can now make arrangements to travel, or even now through e-commerce, order this product. We have arranged that you don't have to travel to do inspection. We have engaged third-party partners who inspect on behalf of KEBS to ensure that this product coming into the country meets the requirements. And therefore, this is an arrangement to facilitate trade and to ensure that you have not been conned. If, for example, you're importing electrical cables, you're in that business, you need now these products to be tested to ensure they meet the requirement of the standards so that you don't incur losses. Any product that is destroyed within this country is a loss to a country. It's like burning money. That is not what we want. So we are encouraging all importers, businessmen, to avoid incurring all these losses. And the other thing that we also as KEBS like talking about is the cost of poor quality. The cost of poor quality, if I give an example, is like when you buy a a plumbing fitting that fails every 3 months, you'll have first and foremost to invite a plumber in your house. That plumber is going to cost you probably, depending on who you are in society, maybe 1,000 shillings. You're inviting strangers into your compound. You have to look at security issues. Then the cost of repair itself. And then thereafter, you're going to invite him after 3 months, after 3 months. You'd rather have bought this product initially that is going to last longer. And that is the simple principle behind the cost of poor quality. Thank you very much. We really appreciate.
Thank you, Bwana Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards. Just before we break for lunch, it looks like our tea time is now going to merge with lunch. I want to invite 2 speakers. One of them is our co-financial and development partner on matters industrialization, and this is UNINDO. Allow me to invite Madam Lynette, who is a deputy representative of UNINDO, Director General in Kenya. Lynette, be brief. And then from there, we shall have Dr. Robert Karanja of Vilgro, Africa, who is also spearheading innovations to the next level. Madam?
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Nderitu Murithi, Governor, County Government of Laikipia, Ambassador Kirimi Kaberia, Principal Secretary, Industrialization, Ambassador Johnson Weru, Principal Secretary, Trade and Enterprise Development, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give a few brief remarks on behalf of the UNIDO Director General and also on behalf of the UNIDO country representative who was not able to be here today. We have heard about the theme of these celebrations, which is Industrializing Africa, renewed commitment towards inclusive and sustainable industrialization and economic diversification. And this really sheds light on the need to build back better around the dual objective of integration and scaling up of the industrialization process in Africa. As UNIDO, we work with various partners to support the industrial agenda. And in Kenya, we recently launched with the Ministry of Industry our Program for Country Partnership, which we will continue to support and implement towards achieving industrialization in Kenya. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and looking very forward to working with all stakeholders in this regard. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Lynette. And now it's your turn, Dr. Robert Karanja from Vilgro, Africa. Vilgro, Africa is involved in progressing innovations to the next level of development. And he will tell us briefly on exactly how.
Good afternoon. Mheshimiwa Bwana PS, His Excellency the County Governor, and all of our esteemed visitors to the County of Laikipia. I am not of Laikipia, but I feel like I belong. The reason being, I see so much innovation around me, and I think we just, before I say anything, let's just give them a clap, because the first thing I'll tell you about innovation is that people think you're crazy. Nobody believes in a startup. Nobody believes in somebody who is building something with a vision that others do not see until you actually realize it. And then when they get there, that's when we come and applaud them. So for me, I love applauding at the very beginning and working and supporting with innovators at the very beginning. So my name is Dr. Robert Karanja. I am a biomedical scientist by background. I work with Vilgro Africa, a business incubator and early stage investor based here in Nairobi, Kenya, that is working in the health and life sciences sector. So we've talked about the value of innovation and how it has served us well
when COVID happened from March of last year, and how things like masks that we were not thinking about before, all the way to ventilators. So you can imagine from when you I don't know, you learned about the complexity of the mask that was just presented to us, to the complexity of a ventilator, a level 4 invasive medical device that is being built here locally by innovators, Dedan Kimathi University being one of them. And I know that because we've been talking with them and trying to understand how do we support that kind of innovation in this country. So what we are doing is we are working together with many actors. It's not just Will Grow Africa. I'm just representing many stakeholders under the banner of Innovators Forum to understand how do we build, just like I'm seeing here, an industrial cluster for medical devices and diagnostics that can be able to serve us and build the resilience that we need for our health systems. We believe that we do not lack anything in terms of the technical capacity. The intelligence is there, the talent is there, the infrastructure is there. What we're lacking is the alignment of various key actors. We've talked about what it takes to align transport, to align extraction, to align power for something like the iron ore here to be realized. And similarly for medical devices and diagnostics, we want to be able to align academia, where a lot of research is happening, knowledge is being created, but we only publish. We want to also align private sector. And I think we've heard about the partnership between the government and people like Equity Bank to be able to provide the capital that's required to seed these ideas, to fuel them so that they can grow and scale. We also want to be able to align government. What we're talking about here, industrialization, and building an enabling environment for the triple helix, where you talk of academia, private sector, and government, to actually come together, and by doing so, be able to take us to where we want to be as a country. I will stop there and say thank you so much. We are delighted, we are honored to be able to be part of this event, and we are looking forward to seeing how we can partner with all of you in being able to make Kenya a country that is not just creating solutions for our problems, but also exporting those solutions. Asanteni.
Thank you. Just before we break then for lunch, one more. Dr. Songa, please be brief. Asante-san. This was my former PS.
Indeed, for this opportunity, honorable PSs that are responsible for this very important occasion, our honorable governor, for hosting this very important occasion, all the stakeholders here, good afternoon. Well, you may have realized as we are going round, it is really encouraging that we are having many entrepreneurs coming up. And I was just wondering if it was occurring to you, if there could be a mechanism to make sure that this effort is supported. It is not just left to chance. And this is why in 2017, our parliament came up with the Trade Remedies Act 2017 that created KETRA, Kenya Trade Remedies Agency. This agency operates in a manner that it protects the nascent, upcoming industries. And it does this within the framework of WTO. Because you'll recall that when we joined WTO, we opened up for trade. And there are benefits for that. But still, we have mechanisms within that framework that protect the upcoming industries. Just like the young man said that they are producing cables, the only company in Africa, but they're having competition from outside with imports. The governor told us a lot about this tuk-tuk. and being proud of our own. It is important that we are really proud of our own, and this is a good example. So what does KETRA do? KETRA was established to make sure that the protection of these upcoming institutions is not taken for granted. So we look at issues of dumping, we look at issues of subsidies and countervailing, and putting in place countervailing measures as appropriate, and also coming up with the necessary safeguards. If I may just give one example of what a safeguard has done to our country, and probably the first that may come to your mind is our sugar industry. We have been having safeguards for our sugar industry because we know how important it is, and we cannot just let it be subjected to competition, not only from COMESA, but from other parts of the world. And here we make it easy for the industry to come up with proposals on how to ensure that we comply with the WTO expectations and make sure that that competition is managed. One area that we have also, KETRA would also address, is to carry out the necessary capacity building. Because here is KETRA, but how many of you, even as you came today, know that there is an institution called Kenya Trade Remedies Agency? The young man who was telling us about the cables, maybe he does not know he has a helping hand somewhere which he needs to utilize. And this is why now we are coming up with mechanisms of capacity building and ensuring that all stakeholders know how to proceed in getting the necessary assistance from this institution, Kenya Trade Remedies Agency. There are procedures, there are manuals that will need to be developed, and some of these are already in the testing with the stakeholders. And with time, it should be possible for any entrepreneur to come forward and say, this is what we are doing, these are the challenges we are having, how can we be helped? And I think I cannot stop before probably introducing the acting executive director, Mr. Chemisto, who is very experienced in this area of trade. So the upcoming entrepreneurs, please Google and find out why was KETRA established and how can you be assisted to be protected from unfair competition. What we want as a country is fair trade. So KETRA is there to provide those mechanisms that are allowed within the framework of WTO. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
The MD KIE, you will be very brief. And while he's coming back, we want to capture one aspect. One of the challenges confronting SMEs is financing. I would wish that he tells us how exactly they are helping to navigate that problem. MD.
Thank you very much. Our PSS and Governor, all protocol observed. Good afternoon. I'm from Kenya Industrial Estates, and we support micro, small, and medium enterprises in 3 areas. 1, to provide them space in our incubators across the country. Number 2, and most important, to provide financing, cheap government financing at 10% on a reducing balance. Anything value addition. 3rd, capacity building and entrepreneurship training. We are in 37 counties, and in 35 of those, we have got our industrial parks. We are here today as part of the ministry under the State Department for Industrialization to support entrepreneurs in this region, Nanyuki, and the whole of this particular region. We have seen fantastic innovations. And maybe this is all we're able to see. There is much more out there. So we've come to say here, we want to partner to support those SMEs to grow the micro entrepreneur to a small business and then to a medium business, then they can grow to entrepreneurs. KIE incubated people like Hako Industries, like Spectre International, like Nice and Lovely, all those. And I can see similar success stories right here. It does not just have to be in Nairobi. The world has changed. Devolution has completely changed things the way we do. So we are here to bring industrialization solutions, particularly financing, down to the grassroots. And we are not just talking about small business, we are talking about women groups, because they do not require securities. We are talking about the youth, and even people with disabilities. I'm here with a team from this region. Mr. Kanyungu, the regional manager, is, if he can stand up, is right here. Because we'll be coming back again to engage with the team. We also have a whole team from Nairobi, the people in charge of branches and operations, Mr. Kimanthi, and the other team as well. So mine is just to say that we have solutions because the government has empowered us and given us sufficient resources to support industrialization or value addition by financing and capacity building MSMEs. And I don't see any better demonstration of that than Laikipia County. So thank you very much, and you are very much welcome.
An aspect that would want as many SMEs be conversant with, and may request the acting MD, Kipi, John Onyango, to briefly tell us how we are securing Kenyan innovators.
PSS, ambassadors, Peter and Johnson, His Excellency the Governor, Nderitu Murithi, CEOs present, MSMEs exhibiting here, county officials of Laikipia, good afternoon. My name is John Onyango. I'm the acting MD, Kenya Industrial Property Institute. Governor Nderitu, I know is one of the governors who appreciate what intellectual property is all about. I recall instances where he has called me whenever there are investment fora in Laikipia that Kipi must be there. And at times he doesn't give me notice. He tells me, it's there tomorrow, somebody must come. And I always honor at shortest notice. DJ 50. Initially it came that the idea was stolen by a Chinese, but we said we cannot allow, we cannot betray our citizens. So it is safe. Development has been decentralized to counties. Before we had the national government planning and implementing development projects everywhere, but with the devolution, now counties are playing a leading role. The national government is facilitating through regulation and policy. So what we are witnessing in Laikipia today is a great success story that really needs to be replicated across other counties. Kipi is a state corporation under the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, State Department of Industrialization, charged with the mandate of promoting innovations in Kenya, and innovations that are touching on patents, industrial designs, utility models, and trademarks. When we talk about industrial designs, it is the shape of a product. Like now you can see, this BJ50 can be protected as an industrial design because of the shape. It can be protected as a patent because of the innovation, the creativity, the invention that has gone into it. And it can be protected as a trademark depending on the name that they have come up with for purposes of trading. So there is a lot that we can do together. And one of the areas where we support the MSMEs is in terms of branding. PS Weru talked about how we can be promoting Kenyan products across borders. You cannot facilitate trade or promote products or services across borders if you don't have a brand name or a brand image. So it is important that whenever we come up with the trademark, which is the brand name, we seek for protection or registration with the Kenya Industrial Property Institute as a trademark. That is why you see Coca-Cola is trading everywhere with the name Coca-Cola. Nobody else can use that name. So I expect to see the name of the automobile that we have here so that nobody else can use it in the category of automobiles. And that will facilitate trade so that it can be sold in any part of the world with that trademark. In terms of protection of innovations, Kenyans have come up with so many innovations, and the latest innovation ranking, I think Kenya was ranked around number 85. Now, this is the creation of the human mind when we talk about innovation. And when you come up with an innovation, you need to seek for protection of that innovation so that nobody else can steal that idea from you. We have seen cases where ideas are stolen from Kenyans. Even 2 weeks ago, there's somebody who came to me saying his idea was stolen and is registered in the US. So this is lack of that information, and it is important, MSMEs, that whenever you come up with any innovation, first place is to seek for protection of that innovation with the Kenya Industrial Property Institute so that nobody else can steal that idea from you. Whether it is in agribusiness, whether it is in pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, construction, among others. Countries that have developed, like Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, and others, did not start from scratch. We do not need to reinvent the wheel in some areas. KIPI has got a database of technologies in all fields, engineering, pharmaceutical, that MSMEs can utilize for purposes of production. We have technological information in all scientific fields, so that if you are producing a product, whether in the field of pharmaceutical, we can be able to provide you with that technological information for patent information that has either expired and you will not be charged any fee, you can exploit it for production, or those innovations that have been developed in other countries but are not protected in Kenya. So the MSMEs can access those technologies for purposes of exploitation and commercialization, which can be used in production of various goods and services. There has been the challenge of fees whenever MSMEs come up with innovations or trademarks, when they have to come and register these innovations with the Kenya Industrial Property Institute. I recall in 2018, the president gave a directive that we waive fees for young Kenyans who come up with the innovations. So any young Kenyan, any young entrepreneur with an innovation, if you come to KIPI, we are not going to charge you any fees. We will process and register and grant you patents and trademarks without any fees. We have also collaborated with the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, to provide pro bono legal services for MSMEs, so that if you have a challenge in terms of fees, we have a program called Inventor Assistance Program, IAP. You will be able to get legal services from patent attorneys in Kenya who will be able to provide and support you in terms of patent drafting and making your application so that we can be able to process it. Last but not least, MSMEs I know have a challenge in terms of productivity and competitiveness because of the scale of production. So for us now to compete globally, regionally and internationally, we need really to look at issues of enhancing productivity and competitiveness, and this is where the technology comes in. So that technology can enable you now to produce en masse and serve a wider market segment. I think with more information, I have a team of officers here who have been going around just to see the various innovations that we have around. And at the end of this, I think there's still a lot we can do together with the country government. Thank you very much.
The Kenya Constitution 2030, Articles 11, 40, 69, and 260 makes it an obligation for the government to protect, support, promote, and enhance intellectual property rights of the people of Kenya. So if you are an innovator, an inventor, you have good ideas, present yourself for protection, for support, for promotion, and enhancing, in which case it is meant to enable you realize the full benefits of your creative mind. Whether you have money or not, present yourself to KIPI, and the KIPI is rolling out its services to the grassroots. The intellectual property bill, the PS mentioned, is meant to establish Kenya Intellectual Property Authority, which is a merger of the 3 intellectual property institutions and will be more efficient and effective in undertaking that constitutional mandate. We want to present a product made in Kenya by one of our institutions, Director Kitty, to demonstrate consuming what we produce and producing what we use. This is the Director Kitty, Perry Sandema. We start with our county commissioner. Our governor, Laikipia County. The PS, Industrialization. The PS, Trade and Enterprise Development. And for standards, the MD, Kenyan Bureau of Standards. And now, Your Excellency and PSs, it is now time for you to have a session with the media.